Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I will start with the prayer of my Lord, open my heart and make my task easy, and untie the knot from my tongue so that they may understand my speech. Now we will discuss the partial equilibrium model. In this section, we analyze partial equilibrium model of price determination. That's a model that look only at the market in which the tax is imposed and ignore the ramification in other markets. Uh, we will see how the unit tax on commodities affect the consumers and suppliers. We first study the incidence of a tax, so named because it is levied as a fixed amount per unit of commodity sold. For example, if the government imposes a tax on flour of rupees 3.4 unit per unit, and taxes on rice with the zero point 0.2 rupees per unit. Suppose that the price and the quantity of flour are determined competitively by supply and demand, which is SC and DC, right? Uh, Before imposition of the tax, the demand and prices are Q naught and P naught, right? This is Q naught and this one is P naught respectively. Now suppose that a unit tax of U, like suppose this rupees U per gallon or per unit is imposed on each purchases, and the statutory incidence is on buyers, right? A key step is incidence analysis is to recognize that in the presence of a tax, the price paid by the consumers and the price received by suppliers is different. In arbitrary, let's assume this is the arbitrary point, which we are naming A. This point indicates the maximum price per gallon at the that people would be willing to pay for Q naught. This is the maximum willingness of consumers, uh, uh, which they are willing to pay. Uh, right after the tax of U is imposed, the most that the people would be willing to spend for Q naught is still PA. At point this point, they are willing to pay PA. This is the point called PA, right? When people pay PA per gallon, producer no longer receive the whole amount, right? Instead, they receive only P naught, PA minus PA minus mu. Actually, this is mu, but I'm calling. Okay, this is the actual amount that consumer received, right? In other words, after the unit tax is imposed, A is no longer a point on the demand curve as perceived by supplier. Point B is this point. Point B is on the demand curve as perceived by suppliers, right? Point A was chosen arbitrary at any point on the demand curve. The story is just the same. We are now in a position to find out the equilibrium quantity of food or flour after the unit tax is imposed. The equilibrium is where the supply equals as perceived by suppliers. Okay. Uh, the equilibrium point is where the supply and demand perceived by supply. In this figure, this occurs at output Q1, right? This is the Q1 output. Thus, the tax lowered the quantity sold from Q1, Q naught to Q1. If there is a tax imposed on consumer, the demand curve shift downward, and from the quantity is reduced from Q1 to Q0 to Q1, right? Um, now this the price this is PG, P0, and PN, right? Write it down somewhere. This is PN. Let me write it. This is PN, P0, and PG. I think it's clear. G is clear, but then okay. Now our discussion will be clear. Includes that PG, this PG includes the text, right? It is often referred to a price gross text. When this curve shifted downward, right? This is this curve is shifted down because of the text, right? This would be the amount of text right? On the other hand, PN is the price net text. This is the price net text. This is a gross text. Can I write it? PG is the price of gross text, and P price of is a price of net text. Consumer are made worse off by the text because PG is the new price they face. PG is the new price they face. This is higher than the original price. It is higher than the original price, right? But the consumer price does not increase by the full amount of tax. The full amount of tax is PG minus P0. Right? This is the full amount of tax. It is not exactly what the consumer is paying. It is less than mu, right? Producer also pay part of the tax in form of a lower price received by gallon. Producer now receive only PN. Producer, this is the price that producer received. While before the tax, they receive P0. Before tax, original price, they're receiving P0. Thus, both producer and consumer made worse off by the tax. Notice that the consumer and producer split the tax in the sense that the increase in the consumer price is P0 increase in consumer price is equal to P2 minus P0, and decrease in producer price is P0 minus PN, right? Just add up to increase in the consumer price is P0 or it is G. PG and P0 and decrease in the producer price is P naught and Pn, right? This is the total amount of which is equals to uh, I mean the tax per unit tax. By definition, revenue collected are the product of the numbers of unit. Revenue is the product of Q number of unit purchase, which is Q1, and the tax per unit mm, uh, tax per unit, right? Geographically, Q1 is the width of rectangle KF, KF, H, and N. This amount will be the amount of, right? This is the amount of revenue and the tax. So tax are the area of this rectangle.